It's been a while since I watched a slice of life romance all the way through. I haven't even seen this one. There's just been so many action-packed shows that I really haven't been paying attention to the slice of life romances. Not even the ones starring Garu. But the other day, I ended up seeing a few clips from the first episode of an anime called The Dreaming Boy is a Realist. The clips got my attention enough to be like, you know what? Why not? So I made the impulse decision to watch the whole anime. So after watching the whole series, I gotta say, the first episode is like the only good one. The rest of the show is boring and a complete waste of time. This is hands down the worst anime I've seen this year so far. But before we get into the negatives, let me give you a quick synopsis on what this show is even about. Our main character Seijo has had a crush on a girl named Aika for over 2 years now. The thing is, he doesn't keep his feelings bottled up or hidden. He makes it publicly known how much he likes her. It's so well known that even the teachers tease him about it.
Wow, you alright, Sajo? You would normally be fawning all over Aika, making a fool of yourself right about now.
He'll follow her around like a puppy dog, constantly ask her to eat lunch with him, constantly ask her out, so on and so forth. The thing is, she always rejects his advances. Well, one day, our main character has an epiphany. First off, he's tired of getting rejected, so he decides to not pursue her anymore.
It may be time for me to move on.
Huh?
I think in my heart, there's a part of me that's gotten tired of being rejected all the time.
Secondly, he realizes just how cringy he's been pursuing this girl.
Don't you think it's time you went out with me now? What, am I crazy?
It's cute in a 90s sitcom.
I'm wearing you down, baby. I'm wearing you down.
But not so much in quote-unquote real life. So he puts what he said into practice and stops pursuing her.
Sajo, I said not to stalk me.
Oh, no. I'm just going to the restroom.
Huh?
It doesn't take long for people to start to notice that he's no longer chasing her.
Seriously? Dude, you're usually like, Aika, let's eat together. Where did Rico Suave go? This is weird.
And of course, as soon as he stops pursuing her, she starts to feel some kind of way.
Sajo?
Huh? What's up?
What? You must be hearing things.
It starts to bother her so much that she shows up to his house to be like, yo, what's up? What happened?
That's just it. Weird's your normal state. But now you're weird by not being weird.
Seriously?
He decides to answer her question by asking her out one last time.
Well, in that case then, Aika,
What is it?
I like you. Please go out with me.
But she turns him down once again.
Huh? What? Don't just ask me that! You know there's no way I could agree to that all of a sudden.
This was the closure he needed to officially move on from this girl. From now on, he'll support her from afar.
I have reached rejected acceptance, so I shall support her from afar and hope for her success and happiness.
He tells her straight up that he won't pursue her anymore.
Just that I've harassed you mercilessly up till now. I wanted to say I'm not going to be doing that to you anymore.
Then he asks if she has any friends that would be interested in him.
Among your friends, are there any girls you might think are a good match for me?
What?
City boy! City boy!
She calls him an idiot, then runs off. So where does the story go from here? Well, that's part of the problem. It really doesn't go anywhere. But before I start tearing this anime apart, let's talk about some positives. But before the positives, if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. It would mean a whole lot to me. So what are the positives of The Dreaming Boy is a Realist? Well, I really like the setup / concept of the show. You know, with it centering around a guy who's trying to move on from his unrequited love. But now that he has moved on, the girl that he was chasing is now starting to show interest. So the setup is great. The problem is the execution and how boring it can be. But we'll get to that. I like the anime's realism / mature approach to the character's unrequited love and moving on from it. He doesn't hate her, he doesn't act spiteful, he doesn't straight up ignore her after choosing to move on. But he doesn't go out of his way to approach her or communicate with her. He keeps his distance because he knows it's going to take time for his feelings to fade. I also like how this is a very realistic situation and helps you connect with the MC. We've all had to deal with unrequited love or distancing yourself from someone because you know your feelings won't quell if you don't. I also like how the MC is able to, or at least tries to adapt to certain situations and tries to keep the conversation going. For example, watch this scene where he's talking to a group of people he normally doesn't associate with.
Anyway, sweetie, what's going on with you and Aika? Haven't seen your marital squabbles lately.
Yamazaki, how dare you take her away from me?
I haven't taken her away.
You two done the nasty thirsty yet?
But that's about it for the positives. I like the setup and I like the main character for the most part. He has a few flaws that I don't like, which we'll touch on in the negatives. Now let's talk about the negatives of The Dreaming Boy is a Realist. First off, the show does a lot of tell, not show. Like, characters tell you that he was like a puppy dog constantly pursuing her. But we don't really get to see that aside from like the first 3 minutes of the show. Well, we do get an extended flashback in episode 10, but it's too little too late by that point. The main character tells us that he has a huge crush on her, but the show never really shows us why. Like, why is she the apple of his eye? What makes her special? Aside from being quote unquote cute, what makes him want to pursue her? We do get a flashback of her helping him out once during middle school, but that's about it. Speaking of Aika, the show does the opposite of what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to make you like her, which makes you understand why the main character likes her. Instead, it makes me dislike her. As soon as he's ready to move on, that's when she wants his attention. She'll get jealous of him talking to other girls, pull him away, and then say nothing to him. She's so wishy-washy with her feelings, and I hate it. The anime just shows her being sad throughout the show, and she doesn't do anything to fix it until the end. Jumping back to the main character, sometimes he can be a bit too blunt about his attitude towards things. For example, he's been working part-time at a bookstore. His timid, shy classmate just got hired on. It's her first day, and it's probably her first job ever. She has a weird interaction with her very first customer. He was saying some stuff that I would probably get in trouble for if I repeated it. This understandably upsets her. So this dude goes to the boss and he's like, hey, she probably can't handle this job. You should fire her. Like, bro, again, this is probably her first job ever. Her very first interaction with a customer was extremely weird. Even the boss is like, bro, chill, it was one interaction. So I alluded to earlier that one of the main problems with this show is that the story really doesn't go anywhere. So let's get into it. The show will introduce a character and have them leave just as fast. It will bring up an interesting issue, but then immediately solve it. For example, since he was always chasing her, she never really had the chance to make other friends. But later that same episode, she's surrounded by people, so I guess it wasn't an issue. The show is just kind of boring and a waste of time. For example, in episode 2, he ends up running into the disciplined president and gives her some advice on how to encourage her subordinates. In episode 4, his classmate's like, yo, I'm gonna start pursuing Aika, and he's like, well, I can't stop you. Obviously, she doesn't want me, so do what you want. In episode 5, he ends up getting sick and spends the majority of the episode in the infirmary with nothing happening. In episode 6, we're introduced to a possible love interest, which got my hopes up. But by the end of the next episode, she's reduced to a friend character. See what I mean? Boring and a waste of time. But that doesn't mean that all the episodes are terrible. For example, in the second half of episode 3, his sister starts to distance herself from him because she believes she's been too harsh on him. So they end up having a sibling heart-to-heart, which was nice to see. Plus, she's a Garu. Yaru. The show also has some funny moments from time to time.
I dropped everything and went upstairs. I ran straight to my brother's room, and then...
And then what?
There he was! Hunched over my big brother and, kissing him!
His overreaction really made me laugh. Also, this middle school joke always got a chuckle out of me.
Middle school. She's in middle school, dude.
Yet another step towards adulthood. I'm learning about the world.
Middle school.
But with that said, the majority of the show is a waste of time. I found myself doing something that I'd never do, and that is speed up episodes and skip through them. I don't even do that with One Piece, and you guys know how One Piece likes to pad out episodes. Now we get to talk about the ending to Dreaming Boy is a Realist and why I hate it. Admittedly, episodes 11 and 12 really aren't that bad, but they still have their issues. The main issue being, as soon as she starts showing him some attention, he falls right back into her hand. What's the point of giving up on pursuing her if he's just gonna go back to her the moment she bashes her lashes at him? Based on how the show started, I thought the theme was gonna be about letting go of your unrequited love and learning to move on.
So I'm some pathetically ordinary loser who totally can't forget about Aika, is that it?
Yes, Yes, you are. See, what ends up happening is that Aika ends up having an epiphany of her own. Pretty much out of nowhere, she's like, I miss him. So she stops being so wishy-washy about her feelings and starts being more direct with him about wanting to spend time with him. I like the fact that she's not so wishy-washy anymore, but at the same time, I don't like how quickly the main character goes back to her. She kinda sorta confesses to him, or at least says that she likes having him around.
Because you are where I belong, Sajo.
Then the anime holds on the fireworks for way too long, which made me laugh. I'm not gonna edit it, I'm just gonna let this fireworks scene play out. So they basically end up exactly where they started at the beginning of the anime, just on better terms. They're not dating or anything, they're just on better terms. So I just sat here and watched 12 episodes of this show just for the characters to end up basically where they were at the very beginning. I know it's supposed to be about the journey and not particularly about how the anime ends. And I do agree with that. The problem is that the journey was boring and uneventful. But I'm glad I watched it. It's good to watch a bad anime every once in a while because it makes you appreciate the good ones so much more. I was about to give this a 2 out of 5, but I gotta go lower than that. It's a 1.5 out of 5. But how do you feel about the show? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Let me know in those comments below. And also, if you like this video, like the video. And if you like me, subscribe to me. And as always, this has been Broken, and I'll catch y'all next time.